that we conclude the meeting, we sent a small agenda and also a link for the for the video. Yeah.
Does it work in Microsoft Teams already for you that it transcribes the session? Do you have the function already?
No, we don't use that function. We do like a kind of very quick summary of the points, but it's interesting, that function. I don't use it really very much. I don't know if you, but
can you use it already? I cannot use it. Microsoft does not allow it to me. Natalia, we cannot hear you, or is it? It's not for us. Okay.
Juan Carlos, you are driving. Be careful.
Yeah, no, estoy parado. En el coche, pero parado.
Hi, William.
Hola, hola.
Hola.
Hola, William.
Let me take. Let me seize this opportunity. Let me introduce Tiago, who is now joining us. Let me introduce him because he's coming to Canada, to Toronto, for the next IPM.
Yeah, great.
Yeah,
that's good.
Hi, Tiago.
Go ahead.
Nice.
Good.
Hey, Tiago.
Hello. I work with Claudio here in BSP. I am a partner responsible by IT area, and I am supporting Claudio on the commercial subjects, and I am starting this area.
He's helping me in commercial area and supporting me in IT.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Very nice. Nice to meet you, Tiago, and glad to hope to see you in Toronto.
Great. Yeah. I hope to see you soon.
Great. Hi, Rodrigo.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Rodrigo.
Hello.
Hello, Caio.
Caio, nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. How are you? How are you guys?
Fine.
Fine.
Great to see everybody.
Great. So I'm not sure if you don't mind, perhaps we should be, starting the session if you don't mind. So thank you very much, everyone, for coming this session, our monthly session for the LATAM group. I'm really very happy to see you all. First of all, definitely, I want to thank, the participation of Ingmar and Ulf in this session. The idea of this session is mainly to cover part of the Vision 2030 of the network. And this is actually the topic that Ingmar and Ulf will be, doing this session. So thank you very much for your participation, Ingmar and Ulf. And please, if you don't mind, go ahead.
Yeah, first of all, thank you also for having us and giving us the opportunity to have this presentation in front of you. And it's, I think, also a bit of a interactive discussion, but Ulf will be leading the main part of it. He also prepared the slides and we'll jump in where necessary. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So thank you very much, everybody, and welcome from my side. Thanks for the opportunity to, actually, we would like to go into discussion with you. The reason is that at the regional partner meeting in Riga for the EMEA region, we held a workshop where we showed and discussed ideas how you can adapt Ecovis Vision 2030 topics, or how you can use the existence that we have this Ecovis Vision 2030 process in the Ecovis International Network, how you can use that for your own strategy work or for your work with your people in your offices. And yeah, Ingmar's and my idea for what we are doing today is presenting you what we think could be an approach to use or think of using Ecovis Vision 2030 for your local strategy. But of course, everybody has his or her own strategy in their offices. And so we will be mainly discussing, and I will start sharing some slides. You probably, I'm sharing the wrong screen. Just a second, try it again. Here we go. Okay. So yeah, Ingmar, I will just start with what I think is a helpful introduction, and then we also go into questioning you. So first we will recap, okay, what is strategy generally, and what is our Vision 2030? And the main topic is the idea that we are discussing using the Vision 2030 to engage stuff. And then we shortly look into resources from Vision 2030 that are in the intranet that you can use, that you can share with your stuff, or that you can show your stuff. And then we go into discussion what you think, what you can do, maybe the things you already have done. And yeah, then we see what comes. So first things first, just a reminder for us as a background, what is strategy at all, and where is Ecovis International Vision 2030 located when talking about strategy for your local firms. So first of all, what we mean when talking about strategy and vision and future is that strategy deals with future and with questions of a firm. Yeah, okay. Of a question of a firm's development that are relevant to survival. So we are not talking about minor, minimal things, but we are really talking about important things. And guys, I really have to tell you, in the last few weeks, I really have looked into a lot of things concerning AI technology, and how it will impact the future of business and society overall. And this is actually something Ingmar, we have not discussed so far in Vision 2030. But when I look at the sentence and I think about things that are relevant to survival, right now I think about artificial intelligence technology. But maybe that is a bit broader than the focus of our discussion today. So also, strategy deals with fundamental decisions and premises regarding the management of the firm. So with your strategy, you define what are the ways you are going and what are the ways you are not going, based off your idea, what you want to reach on a point in the future. And therefore, strategy has to be consequential. So it has to have consequences that have direct impact on day-to-day operations and all people in the firm. Otherwise, it is no strategy when it doesn't change the direction of your firm. So when we're talking about Ecovis Vision 2030 process as our international guideline for our strategy, then of course we are talking about the framework for the strategy of our international network. So in the second step, and this is where, as a network, we are not structured like a centralized global firm, but somehow there should be a connection between Ecovis Vision 2030 as our international networks firm and the strategies of the local firms. And questions to consider here are, how do you develop your firm's strategy at all? I mean, we have no guidelines, how you use or how you translate Ecovis Vision 2030 to your local firm strategy. That's why we are having this discussion right now, because we are, per definition, as a network, relatively loosely connected. And question for you, first question for you to consider is, how do we develop? How do we discuss our future? Is it only discussed on partner level? How do we integrate our stuff? So usually, and we had an interesting discussion in a workshop in Riga, usually the important thing is, of course, core decisions regarding the future, regarding the vision, regarding strategy are held by the partners of the firm, of course. They are drafting a vision statement, they are defining the future in terms of positioning of the firm, size, structure, services, what the team should look like, what KPIs are that should be fulfilled sometime in the future, what are client groups, growth, what competencies should be developed, and so on. And then usually there should be at some point a point where stuff needs to be involved to make the strategy division happen, to implement it into reality. Because with your stuff, everything that's regarded to quality, technical, and other competencies, service and client related aspects, at least there your stuff needs to be heavily involved in the fulfillment, I would say, of the strategy, because otherwise your strategy, your vision will probably not happen, and so it would be only a theoretical thing. And at what point you integrate your stuff into a vision process is really a cultural thing. I mean, general, I think a cultural thing, and also a firm culture thing. So that differs a lot. For instance, for us in Western cultures, Western European, or I think also the US, it is very common to integrate stuff very early in strategy discussion processes. Also, this is an expectation of the stuff. On the other hand, in Eastern Europe or even in Asia Pacific, that differs a lot, and maybe stuff gets very much later presented a strategy and then told, you know, this is what you have to do it. So it's very something that's really individual and up to the firm, and this is also nothing what we give you an advice on how you do it. So actually that's why we just came up with this little structure here. Ingmar, would you like to add to what I said, or?
No, I think you are already complete with I think what we want to discuss now. I'm really curious about who already have more thoughts about the vision process itself on your local on the company, on members level, because that's something that's very difficult, and also a thing we ourselves had a bit of issues with. Okay, what are the next steps we do? And I'm just a bit curious who did already have thoughts or discussions or meetings about this.
I mean, and not necessarily Vision 2030, right?
No, it's
just about strategy, about future,
yeah,
about vision of the firm. Yeah, how are you doing this? Rodrigo, are you saying something, or we cannot hear you? Okay.
Well, it's a bit difficult. I understand. Some cultures is very easy, and it's a discussion always going on. In some countries, it's something that develops from itself. I don't know, Ricardo, do you have some opinion about it, or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in our case, what I can tell you, I mean, definitely the strategy is really very relevant. I mean, to assure the continuous of the business. In our case, I mean, the idea is try to create, I mean, a firm where we could, in some sense, institutionalize and be a little bit more, I mean, to go aside from a family business in that sense, in order to try to create a business team in that sense. And this is something complicated in that sense, because at the end, as you mentioned it, the idea is try to know where you want to go, but also involving the people who is actually doing the work. In this case, I mean, part of the managers that are working with us, trying to have a very clear understanding of where we want to go and what we want to achieve. Definitely, the idea is to define specific KPIs, as you mentioned it, which are really very important. And you need to try to define the way you want to achieve this in order to measure it. Otherwise, you lose completely the way you want to do it. And this is, I mean, a business is like that. I mean, you need in the other way to understand how the team is working. I mean, the work each one is developing. You need to measure it and assure that the things are going in the same direction. And sometimes it's not really easy. We are having several difficulties. I mean, in that sense, because nobody, I mean, wants to go in that direction, and everyone as part of the firm needs to, I mean, to take to be responsible of the things they are doing so far, and this is something that nobody. It's not easy, yeah, because
No.
you,
Oh,
you,
for sure.
you need to perform, and this is something complicated in that sense when you start doing a little bit like that. But at the end, I mean, you need to be really very clear what you want to do, you want to achieve, and the work team is fundamental in order to move forward. So that's more or less what we have been doing, and I think we have been doing it more or less successfully. Evidently, it's also really very important to consider, I mean, the technical process, which is really very important. At the end, what we sell, in some sense, is our services, and you need to assure that that kind of services have a pretty good quality, which is really very good in order to determine this specific, difference among the other service providers that are in the market. So it's really very complicated, but this is the way we are now approaching this strategy for us.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Somebody something to add, or should we go to the vision statement next, or?
Yeah, I think we can continue. I just wanted to make sure that I'm not presenting things here that are total theory for all of you, and you're not doing it. So we are presuming everyone has a kind of approach to doing strategy. And the basic idea, what we see that gives that is the opportunity that there is Ecovis International Vision 2030 project that gives you beside the practical things that are happening in these projects, that you have another layer of strategy to reflect and discuss with your people, with your team. And that might be supporting your strategy you are having, or that might be supporting the way you're leading your people, or the way that your local firm is attractive for your staff. And yeah, quite simply, you can discuss regarding Vision 2030. Look at it together. I mean, we have the videos in the internet. I show it later on. where it is. You can look at it, and then can you just discuss what are we already doing accordingly? There will be things that you are already doing. It's always nice to show also the stuff. Hey, this is things that we are already very good at. We are already doing it, and thanks to you. And also, you can see ideas in Vision 2030 that you might adapt to your local strategy. Or on the other hand, you can also decide, okay, there are things in the Vision 2030 that are not relevant for us on a local level, but we have it on the Ecovis international level.
Yeah, and
So-
then maybe also,
Yeah.
and maybe also good with strategy. You always talk about big things. It's usually think big. Where are we heading? So large steps sometimes come up, but also making sure you implement these can also be very small steps and very easy steps, and sometimes just highlight something you're already doing, but people don't see it until you highlight it. So that's also a bit part of it. And I think also within the Vision 2030, there are relatively small things that can already be a bigger step in getting a strategy to a certain path.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just put into our mind before we then go into the discussion what you think could be helpful for you on local level. So again, this is our Vision 2030. Ecovis International is a happy multicultural family. We celebrate the unique personalities and talents that all our people bring, and people are proud to belong here. Ecovis International is known as an attractive home for talented and ambitious professionals, encouraging entrepreneurship and continuous personal development, all combined with an appropriate work-life balance. We embrace our social and environmental responsibilities. We are committed to our common brand and quality standards and support each other in promoting excellence across our network. We offer peace of mind to our clients. We do this by providing specialized advisory solutions, and we are delivering seamless and convenient core services based on high-end technology solutions. We help our clients globally to navigate safely through regulations locally. So when just looking at these things, I can imagine there is something for everybody. In my fantasy, there should be things if you're starting to discuss it with your people, not only from the local perspective, but maybe also from the perspective, from a regional perspective. How, I mean, especially when we are looking at, we are committed to our common brand and so on, and support each other in promoting excellence across our network. This could also mean to develop activities between the Latin American or Spanish speaking offices or whatever. And the numbers, you maybe remember this from our former presentations, are the numbers of the project groups and strategic packages. And I'm not going through all of these. Of course, on a local level, these topics could be translated in totally different strategic projects, but it's maybe good to know for you, and also if you want to inform your staff that these project groups exist, if people are interested, or if you think about, okay, what activities can we do? For instance, the project group 5, social and environmental responsibilities, is very active and already has a growth in group members because people were just very interested to be part of this. And also if we are starting with a people coordinator that coordinates academy training and other things across the network, then there will be things happening. So what are the resources? What can you find? Where can you find all the information in the intranet? If you would like to recap it for yourselves on a partner level, or if you want to discuss this with some of your staff. So here in the intranet, under the section Working Together, there is a new section, Vision 2030, and we have put the most important resources in there. The latest update from the regional partner meeting in Riga, information from the Young Ecovis Networking Day. This is something that happens in the European partner meeting since 5 years, that we also invite non-partner level people, and they usually do a day of workshop and activities, and they were also reflecting on, how can we bring Ecovis Vision 2030 to life from a staff perspective and so on. And there are also in the internet the YouTube videos, so this is really nice to look at with your stuff. And of course, you can use these also for your social media and marketing activities. And ideas from the Young Ecovis Networking Day, that was really interesting, what they came up with. And we actually, and this is something, we should discuss also in the future, Ricardo, for the region. We have a very active group. This morning we had a call. Actually, Scott is leading this activity, that we want to create a task force or a board of non-partner level Ecovis international people. And from the members from the past Young Networking Day participants, we had a call with over 20 people today that are interested in doing some kind of activity for the Ecovis International Network. And Ingmar, maybe you can add to this if you want. This is really also one very important part of the vision, that we really also integrate more people from the Ecovis international offices that are doing international work, that are not attending the partner meeting, that they connect to each other, because there's a lot of energy, there's a lot of ideas, and of course we will be getting more done when we not put everything through partner level.
Yeah, I think it's already in Holland we say an open door, that our young talented people are the future, and not only of your firm but also of I think the network itself. And I tend to speak to a lot of people who come to the Ecovis Young Networking Day, and also to the partners that employ them, that young, ambitious, talented people, they tend to have also a bigger interest also in international work. Somehow they really have a connection when they don't only think locally, but they already thinking internationally and in connecting internationally. And I think there's also a very, very big opportunity when you look at our network to improve involvement of those people, to not only have technical input or ideas, but also have connections in between those at that level, because I think that will help in train our people so they get better, and also they get more skilled, but also retain them, because we have an extra layer on fun and ideas and development for them. And I think at the next step it could also help in getting the right people in. So being sure that in competition, in getting the really good, talented people, to let them choose for you instead of the competitor who maybe is not part of an international network, or where this isn't as well developed. And we think there are very good opportunities, and I think there's a lot of to gain there, but there's also already a lot in place. There are already a lot of enthusiastic people on board, and we just need to make sure they get the right tools to connect with each other. So I think there are big things to achieve, but also already small steps can help a lot.
So really, since in the Americas region, there is not this group of people. I mean, we just chose these people because they were participants from these Young Networking Day. So there should be some process. If you would like to participate, I really would like to see that how do you identify these people, yeah? Or maybe you could also think of doing something similar at the next America's partner meeting, or not. I mean, we can do also everything virtual. And in the future, if we have the people academy coordinator person, this will be the person that manages all these things. I mean, I also see we have a lot of resource in these younger non-partner people, because they will be doing a lot of work and activities and so on, also marketing related and competence building and experience exchanging, everything that we are doing on the partner meetings anyway. And yeah, so this is an aspect that we strongly recommend to organize also for the Americas region. And so this is all the ideas written down. It's really good, enhancing communication and collaboration, promoting knowledge sharing, technology and digitalization, and AI technology, of course, social and recreational activities, sustainability and social responsibility. These are the topics and ideas that came up in Riga, and there's really a lot of energy and enthusiasm behind these things. And additionally, and this is just an advertisement for those of you who would like to see what Ingmar from the Netherlands and Inga, and even from the ESG group 5, and Georg from Germany, and Emilio from Italy, they have explained really in long on the workshop in Riga how they are approaching strategy that already is fulfillment of or fits into the topic of Vision 2030. And we also have this recording of this workshop in the intranet, what I showed you, where the resources are from Ecovis Vision 2030. So as an additional information and kind of best practices or examples, I recommend you to watch this if you would like to. Okay, so far for presenting what the concept and what the ideas are from our side. And now we are happy to hear your resonance, your questions, your thoughts. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ulf and Ingmar. I don't know. I think the topic is really very relevant, and to think about the strategy is a pretty hard topic, and it's a very good moment that for us locally we start, working on that definitely, and try to be aligned with the Vision 2030 of the network, which I think it's really very relevant. From my perspective, concerning the topic you were talking about, the group for this young network day, for example, what I can tell you, and just as an example, and this is also something to think about. I have been part of the International Fiscal Association, for several years, which is a really very relevant international association. And here, for example, the way it works, we have a senior committee who is something like that we are doing so far. And in the other way, we have like Young IFA network, which is really a specific committee for the young people. And in this committee is basically led by young people who are really very interested in moving forward in the firms in the same way that more or less you are saying. And the experience we have had there is that at the end, these young committees starting growing really very impressive. And the way they started moving forward is really very nice. And at that level, that sometimes the discussions and the things that are devoted at the level of the young members are even more important than the ones that are at the senior level. And at the end, for those that are part of this young committee that have a relevant participation, they come now to the senior committee. And this is something that, in some sense, just to think about. I mean, the way how we can do this in the network. Why? Because in my perspective, for example, from the LATAM region, I mean, we can try to do something like that. I mean, on a virtual, on a remotely basis at the beginning. The problem that we face here in the LATAM region is basically that Latin America is really pretty big. And if we want to gather in a specific day, for example, in the way you do it in Europe, it's really very complicated, because if you want to go from the United States to Argentina, it's basically 10 hours flight, and it's really very complicated and also expensive in that sense. So this is part of the things that, for example, in Europe, you have that advantage, because you are really pretty, I mean, very well connected. The distances are not so big. And this is something that we need to think about, because at the end, this is also part of a budget that needs to be included, I mean, in the offices. But I do believe that this is a very good idea in the near future, with the main intention to create, I mean, the next level of the people who will be, I mean, running for the network, which I think it's interesting. The point is, perhaps we need to try to think about the way we can define something like that.
Yeah, but I think that's the biggest thing about the Vision 2030 and also the ideas of other members. It's just sharing thoughts, but I think everybody should pick out from the vision what is important for what they think it's important for them, for you locally, but also for the region, and also how it's a good practice for yourself, because it just works differently in APAC, in the Americas, in Europe, etc. And that's not an issue. You should just look at it and think about how you can implement it for yourself, and also what's important for others. They say ESG is now a very high priority for others. They say I have other priorities more on the staff side, or more on the commercial side, and therefore on the client side, or on the quality. And therefore, I think for everybody there's something in there in the vision what they can prioritize, and for sure, and Ricardo, what you're already explaining is work on the people part. And when you look at the vision statement, that's also a lot prioritized. Work on the people part. I think somebody said to me, when you have the right people in working for you, then your clients will be satisfied, and your commercial success will grow from there easily. And I really believe that myself. So I think work on the people side is a very good one. But I think we already agree on that.
Yes, I do believe. I don't know if anyone has some comments regarding these ideas, or wants to share something that do you believe is relevant. If someone wants to do it in Spanish, please go ahead. So, I mean, the point is to try to open the discussion.
Yeah, let me add some comments on that. As Ricardo said, I agree completely with what Ricardo said. There are big, how can I say, evolution in this point in Europe because of the distance, because of the integration of the countries. And here in South America or Americas is a little bit more complicated. But this idea to do that, start with online meetings first, to share the thoughts, to start this integration of non-partners people would be very, very good. I would say that it's a shame for me that I don't know exactly all the top of this vision 2030. This is something I have to understand, to have a better understand and disclosure with my colleagues, my partners. And I believe that we are doing the same things without knowing exactly the terms or the topics. We are doing that. As Ricardo said, he's doing, I understood that you were doing a kind of a plan for your company, knowing where you are, where you plan to go. And we are doing the same here. We are also working on the, how can I say, agreement of the partners, because originally our company is a family company, and with more partners joining, we have to think about succession plan, because we have to see the continuity of the company, of the operation. And so we have to do that SWOT. This is something we have to do and repeat every year or every time we see some opportunities or threats. For example, we in Brazil, we are under tax reform that's being discussed in our Congress that will change our life completely. So there are some government changes that we have to look in more details for our plan. So this is my additional comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudio.
Thank you, Claudio. Yeah, very interesting.
That's clear. Yeah.
Yeah, are there other thoughts, comments? What resonates in your head? Maybe something totally different comes up.
I don't know, Ingmar and Ulf. I think, as Claudio said, I think it's also a good moment. I mean, for all the other members that are not really very aware of the Vision 2030. I mean, as you advised, basically, to try to go also in a deep way, I mean, in the intranet, and try to understand a little bit more, I mean, the general idea of all the specific topics that that Vision 2030 has. Because at the end, this is also part of I mean, where we should be aligned. I mean, our locally growing should be aligned to that vision in that sense. So I think it's a pretty good moment for those that perhaps have not had the time to do it, to try to involve in that sense, because at the end is the continuity of our business. And as you mentioned it, if we don't change or do what we need to do, we need to survive at the end. And this is something really very relevant, I think.
And also, yeah, it's really good fun, I think, to watch the videos for marketing purposes, and also the workshop in Riga, which is very practical. Also, I am very happy if you find in process of looking at the things and or reviewing for yourself how we are doing strategy for ourselves. If there's anything you find, questions or things where you say, okay, I need more resources on how to do a strategy, or we could organize also a discussion or a workshop on how you are doing strategy, or I don't know, whatever kind of things you might need to work with Ecovis Vision 2030, we are really happy to try to provide you. Yeah, so this is.
Yeah. So also, when you find it difficult to know where to start or how to start a process, also please approach us. It's a thing you need to do, and Ulf already took us through a process, so therefore we are very involved already. But you need to get a bit on the train of thinking about this, and when you find it hard to jump on that train, then also please don't hesitate, because that's why we are here, and please let us know. It can be more in a working group, can also be individually. So please approach us. We are there to make sure this works for you and also benefits you, because at the end, that's the most important part, that it benefits you with your firm, because from there it's the easiest way to grow and have a successful network as well.
Yeah, completely.
Okay, when there are no comments, then I think maybe we can close this part. I don't know if you have other topics to discuss this morning.
Yes, I agree with you, Ingmar, Ulf. I don't know if anyone has any other comment. We will close this presentation, and if you don't mind, thank you very much, Ingmar and Ulf. It has really very enriching presentation regarding the Vision 2030 of the network, and this is something that definitely we need to try to think, to go inside and try to go deeper with the main idea to understand also the local strategy for all of our firms. Thank you very much for your time, for this opportunity to discuss this topic.
Yeah, was a pleasure. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, and I think we will continue with a couple of things. If you don't mind, we are going to switch to Spanish.
Okay,
for sure.
And to discuss a couple of things. So thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you too.
Have a good day. Bye.
Thank you.
Bueno, pues creo que finalmente, para cerrar un poquito ahí la sesión, si me lo permiten, el día de hoy, bueno, teníamos dentro de la agenda también incorporado un pequeño slot para algunos comentarios en relación al tema todavía de la perspectiva pues sí, del trabajo del BDM como tal. Después de la salida de Mariana finalmente como BDM de la región, personalmente yo he recibido diversos, pues sí, comentarios, llamadas en relación a lo que es el trabajo claramente que debemos de tener ahí del BDM. Y bueno, pues la idea era pues discutir un poco el punto, si alguien también tiene comentarios particulares para de alguna manera también, pues vamos a decirlo así, enriquecer un poco con la experiencia que se tuvo al día de hoy en relación a lo que es el trabajo del BDM, cómo poder hacer que finalmente el siguiente proceso sea claramente exitoso. Evidentemente es un tema que pues es responsabilidad en primera instancia de Rosario Di Maggio, que pues, es la persona encargada del punto. Y aquí el tema era simplemente saber si hay algún comentario que finalmente ustedes quisieran expresar en ese sentido. Desafortunadamente, bueno, pues Rosario también estaba convocado a la sesión, y lo digo respetuosamente, pues hoy en la mañana también nos comentó que no se iba a poder unir, y simplemente pues yo aprovecharía estos minutos que nos quedan para discutir este tema, independientemente a que probablemente debamos de claramente comentarlo cuando esté él. ¿Y a dónde quiero yo ir? No veo por aquí a un par de personas que hicieron un par de comentarios, pero pues básicamente los comentarios recibidos iban un poco en el sentido de decir, oye, creo que con el tema de Mariana, pues no había mucha duda en que finalmente es una persona sin duda muy capaz, como tal, que finalmente, pues digo, fue cercana con nosotros, claramente con grandes habilidades, para poderse comunicar, pero bueno, pues no llegó finalmente a las metas o a las expectativas que se tenían de generación de negocios, que ese es el problema por el que finalmente, pues digamos que se decidió terminar la relación con ella. No obstante, parte de lo que se comentó o de los comentarios que yo he recibido es en el sentido de decir, oye, pero pues digo, está muy bien, pero al final del camino no tenemos como realmente un plan o una claridad de qué es lo que estamos esperando finalmente de ese BDM. desde el punto de vista de pues, establecer metas muy concretas o un plan específico donde también nosotros podamos estar pues sí, un poquito involucrados. Me parece que esto es algo que claramente, bueno, aquí es algo que, insisto, lo tendrá que definir Rosario, pero bueno, pues se me hacía como interesante o válido desde el punto de vista de nosotros también qué esperar finalmente en ese trabajo que de alguna forma pues estemos nosotros recibiendo como tal del BDM, ¿no? Que ese es un poco el tema, la transparencia en cuanto a lo que es pues sí, las metas, el plan de trabajo y todo esto que pues no estaba como muy claro. No sé si alguien tenga ahí algún comentario. El segundo, por ejemplo, también, al día de hoy pues no está definido finalmente el lugar donde se deba finalmente ubicar este BDM. Particularmente, bueno, pues ya, digo, la oficina de Brasil ya también ofreció finalmente tomar de alguna manera alguna oportunidad que se pueda generar ahí. Yo creo que aquí, como lo comentábamos, no sé, un poco desde la perspectiva nuestra, pues la idea es tener a alguien que de alguna manera pues nos ayude finalmente a cubrir la expectativa de este plan. Y pues me parece que donde pueda estar ubicado la persona, pues ya o sea, finalmente es importante, pero pues la idea es encontrar a alguien que tenga ese perfil, ¿no? Entonces entiendo que pues Brasil tiene también este interés, en su momento también Byron también lo tiene, nosotros solamente en el momento de México lo ofrecimos y fue cuando salió como la mejor posición. Entonces, creo que ahí, sin duda, pues yo creo que nosotros como oficina, en las oficinas que tenemos interés en que finalmente pueda estar localizada esta persona, pues sin duda hacer nuestra chamba, Claudio, Cayo, como tal, pues me parece que puede ser bastante bueno. Byron, para que pues, esto pueda moverse hacia adelante y claramente discutirlo también en la digamos que idea que tiene Rosario, ¿no? Al respecto. ¿Por qué lo comento así? Porque también no estoy tan claro, esto es algo que él tendrá que platicar de manera directa, si en realidad él está pensando que el BDM deba estar localizado en América o no, ¿no? Que eso es algo que lo ha expresado. Y pues bueno, también me parece que pues tiene sus pros y sus contras, ¿no? Pensar en que esté un BDM en, no sé, en España o en algún lugar así, pues puede ser bueno porque tiene obviamente el contacto claramente de toda la parte de Europa y de Asia para hacer el contacto con México, que eso está muy bien. Por el otro lado, la desventaja de pues estar trabajando en horarios distintos, ¿no? Para todo este tema. Entonces, no sé, simplemente el tema es que si alguien tiene algún comentario particular en este asunto de la parte del BDM, para que, pues me parece que ahorita es el momento idóneo para que también podamos conversar con Rosario y plantearle nuestras inquietudes, que ese es un poco el punto, ¿no? Entonces, no sé, Claudio, Byron, Cayo, ¿qué opinen?
Opino yo. Hola. Les comento si quieren.
Adelante, Byron.
Sí, correcto. Gracias. Primero que nada, saludos a todos. Bueno, realmente es una posición muy importante y precisamente lo que tú comentabas, Ricardo, los objetivos, ¿verdad? Creo que valdría la pena que hiciéramos un levantado de objetivos y de target principalmente, digamos, que es lo que siempre hemos pensado, target por industria. Entonces creo que eso, pero target con servicio, o sea, decir, por ejemplo, voy a buscar al grupo Continental Motores, solo por pensar en uno que Rosario mencionaba, cabal, yo estoy con ese target, ya tengo ahorita casi ganada la propuesta ahí para el grupo. Entonces, pensar en targets, digamos, ¿verdad? Que estén bien claros, podría ser un objetivo. Otro tema es el tema de que la persona, es cierto, reporte a Rosario, pero que sí tenga una forma de reportar más abierta, digamos, en el sentido de ir dando el tracking de lo que está haciendo, de lo que busca, ¿verdad? No solamente una reunión privada con cada quien, sino que, digamos, a todos abrirles por qué camino va, por qué ruta va más rápido, digamos, cada semana, no cada mes. Entonces, la verdad es que sí veo que es una muy buena alternativa tenerlo, pero también tiene que conocer la industria, o sea, conocer qué es realmente los servicios que prestamos, ¿verdad? Ese elemento es un elemento clave, que entienda nuestros servicios. Mariana realmente es una persona muy agradable y es una persona tiene muy buena presentación, perfecto inglés, pero realmente no terminó de comprender nuestros servicios, ¿verdad? No terminó de entender los servicios. Entonces creo que ese elemento le representó un gap demasiado grande, no entender los servicios, o sea, realmente no lograba entender dónde estaba el valor de nuestros servicios, ¿verdad? Entonces, claro, o sea, cada quien tiene que investigar también, ¿verdad? La persona tendría que investigar y parte de su evaluación tendría que ser que conociera nuestros productos, nuestros servicios. La evaluación inicial, digo yo, no posterior de que se le contrata. Y darle un periodo de prueba también, darle un periodo de prueba de 2 meses. Por ejemplo, decirle, estás aquí en esta posición, tienes un periodo de prueba, tienes que mostrarme un plan antes de terminar ese periodo de prueba, ¿verdad? Y tienes que realmente comunicarte con todos. O sea, que de alguna forma es difícil decirlo así, pero todos somos sus jefes por igual. No, mi jefe está en México, mi jefe está en Italia o donde esté, ¿verdad? En Europa, sino que realmente no tener ese pensamiento limitante, digamos, ese pensamiento limitante de que no, mi jefe no me autoriza, mi jefe no me permite tal cosa. No debe pensarlo así. Esa forma de pensamiento de entradita no, ya yo descalificaría a la persona solamente por ese pensamiento. ¿Verdad? El pensamiento tiene que ser, si es un verdadero BDM, tiene que desarrollar negocios para todos, ¿verdad? Tiene que buscar resultados, negocios, ¿verdad? En forma pareja para todos. Ese sería mi punto de vista. Gracias.
Sí, gracias, Byron. Fíjate que das un punto muy importante que creo que es bastante válido. El tema de conocimiento, obviamente, de nuestras actividades, digamos que del negocio o como tal. Yo creo que sí es importante, por ejemplo, ahorita que el próximo BDM realmente tenga experiencia en el área respecto del tipo de servicios que nosotros hacemos, que coincido contigo. Eso sí ha sido un tema, fue una cuestión importante donde, bueno, pues Mariana creo que sí no llegó finalmente a entender bien realmente digamos que el tipo de los servicios que nosotros finalmente desarrollamos y no tenía una experiencia real, ¿no? En el área, en esa parte, ¿no? Entonces, eso se me hace un muy buen punto dentro de lo que comentas. Entonces, Claudio, Cayo, ¿ustedes qué opinan? Cristian, perdón, discúlpame. Rodrigo, pues no me di cuenta de las manitas. Rodrigo, discúlpame. Por favor, si podemos ir con Rodrigo primero.
Tranquilos, muchas gracias. Y yo hago una pequeña reflexión. Esto no solamente es de la persona, llámese como se llame o ubíquese en donde sea, sino que también creo que hay que trabajar en la articulación, digamos, de los países desde el punto de vista del marketing, porque hay veces apagamos la reunión y como que nos perdemos nuevamente hasta la próxima reunión del próximo jueves. Entonces, si esa persona, o si se puede construir una estrategia unificada, pues desde el punto de vista es más, de los temas web, de los temas de los podcasts, de lo que hemos hablado, en fin, tener una persistencia como apoyo a la gestión que se vaya a realizar desde el punto de vista de marketing, pues me parece muy importante y sobre todo la continuidad de una estrategia para efectos de promover, digamos, nuestra región, nuestros clientes, etcétera, porque pues hemos sido, digo yo, hemos sido muy pasivos desde el punto de vista de utilizar las redes, pienso yo, en ese sentido. O mejor, creo que hay que apoyar mucho más esa capa de visibilidad que podemos tener, pero de una manera estructurada. Y bueno, esa es mi reflexión sobre este tema.
Ok, gracias, Rodrigo. Que es un
Totalmente
poco,
de acuerdo con Rodrigo, la parte tecnológica, totalmente de acuerdo, Rodrigo. Gracias.
o sea, básicamente es un tema de un marketing regional, ¿no, Rodrigo? Que eso es como lo veo. O sea, fortalecer el tema del marketing regional, ¿no? Que sería el punto, ¿no? Cristian, adelante.
Sí, buenos días a todos. Yo simplemente para, es decir, el enfoque que tiene hoy en día el Business Development Manager, ellos se ocupan sobre todo de lo que son multinacionales, proyectos multinacionales. Es decir, no lo enfocan y no creo que lo vayan a enfocar, salvo que se cambie el concepto, en ayudarnos en nuestro marketing, ni siquiera a nivel regional, etcétera, que para eso el Rosario opina que eso es un tema de cada uno de los partners. Entonces, a efectos del Business Development Manager futuro, lo que creo que también hay que analizar que ha pasado en el pasado es de dónde vienen los flujos de negocio que genera el Business Development Manager. Es decir, los generamos desde Latinoamérica, desde Madrid, desde Miami, porque ahí es donde al final tenemos que poner el énfasis, dónde se genera el negocio, porque no nos van a ayudar, porque no lo consideran su función, no van a ayudar en ayudarnos en nuestra tecnología o ayudarnos en cómo actuamos nosotros, cada uno en nuestras redes sociales, etcétera, sino que ellos lo que intentan es generar multinacionales que tengan proyectos en varios países. Entonces, viendo los updates que nos hacían de los temas multinacionales, ahí es donde hay que ver de dónde vienen los flujos de negocio para potenciar eso. Y si tiene que venir sobre todo, pues que los chinos invierten mucho en Latinoamérica, pues a lo mejor hay que centrarnos en cómo potenciar esos flujos de inversiones, etcétera. Porque si no, a lo mejor nos vamos a encontrar con el mismo fracaso, que no es un tema de una persona, sino que es un tema de cómo está el sistema estructurado.
Sí, correcto, que pues es un poco lo que comentaba yo de la idea, ¿no? De quizá a lo mejor esta persona en lugar de estar en América tiene que estar en Europa, ¿no? O en Asia, no lo sé, buscando el tema de la interacción con América, que esa es un poco también la visión que tiene Rosario, que es ir a donde finalmente están las oportunidades, ¿no? Que ese es un poco el tema. Claudio, ¿tú qué opinas?
Sí, igualmente, estoy de acuerdo a Cristian, a ustedes, que es importante, primero que nosotros tengamos una reunión para discutir lo que queremos y estos puntos que estamos ahora discutiendo, abrir esta discusión para todos. Sí, Brasil ahora es un candidato para recibir una persona, ubicar una persona al BDM, pero es solamente para tener una opción, porque en verdad creo, de acuerdo con ustedes todos, que la idea de tener a alguien, por ejemplo, en Europa, sea más interesante, porque es donde están los inversores. La inversión acá en América Latina no es muy grande. Las inversiones vienen de Europa o entonces de Asia. Entonces, tener una persona más cerca de los inversores, me creo que sería mejor.
O quizás
Claro.
para que esté en América, que esté en Miami, que pilla más los
Ese es mi
flujos
tema.
americanos, que no, porque Europa lo cubre Rosario, en
Exacto.
China ahora hay una persona específica y yo creo que sería bueno que hubiese alguien en las Américas para que sea más específico y no se pierda con otras inversiones europeas y de APAC, pero a lo
Exacto.
mejor, pues eso, Miami, que también
En
tiene
Estados Unidos.
Estados Unidos, para
Sí,
que genere un
correcto.
flujo hacia los países de la región.
de acuerdo.
De acuerdo, creo que está, no sé si es Juan Carlos, es que está levantando la mano porque no tiene nombre el icono. Adelante.
Buenos días a todos. Es Jorge Juárez.
¿Qué tal, Jorge?
Hola, Jorge.
¿Cómo estás?
Hola, Jorge.
Sí, gusto en saludarles. Un comentario. Ahí les puse un comentario que yo siempre le pregunté, y le pregunté a Mariana muchas veces si tenía algún software de gestionamiento de clientes, y ella nunca le proporcionaron un software de CRM, que realmente cuando uno necesita captar clientes, uno necesita un software para el gestionamiento de esto. los clientes, donde tenés contacto, principalmente en LinkedIn, que es nuestra red social favorita, como para decirlo así, donde nosotros nos enfocamos más en hacer mercadeo. Solo para comentarles, y no quitarles mucho tiempo, es importante proveerle a esta persona las herramientas adecuadas de CRM para que pueda captar esos clientes, ya sea empresas familiares o grupos importantes. Principalmente los CRM que proporciona LinkedIn, que no son tan caros, realmente son como $74 mensuales para una persona. O sea, si yo lo voy a hacer una persona, se compra la licencia para una persona. Entonces, ese es un punto que yo quería aportar, nada más. Muchas gracias.
Sí, correcto. En ese tema, digo, hasta donde yo recuerdo, en la parte del CRM siempre fue un punto donde se estaba tratando de utilizar un CRM gratuito, que Rosario tenía uno y creo que Mariana tenía otro. Entonces ahí había una cuestión en ese sentido, pero sí es un hecho que finalmente, digo, aprendiendo un poco de lo sucedido, el nuevo BDM pues tiene que tener las herramientas necesarias para poder hacer el trabajo, ¿no? Que eso es también fundamental, ¿no? Sin duda. Entonces, pues bueno, parte ahorita del tema, insisto, era tratar de discutir varios de estos puntos que me parece que son muy importantes, que debamos de alguna manera, pues tratar de conversar también con Rosario. Al final, Rosario es el que va a definir finalmente el tema. Él obviamente es el responsable, pero creo que vale mucho la pena que, bueno, parte de la sesión de hoy era eso, tratar de platicar con él los puntos para sensibilizarlo. Creo que si ustedes me lo permiten, lo que haremos es de nueva cuenta agendar una sesión con él, la siguiente llamada, para tratar de externar, o sea, platicar con él un poco en este sentido, saber hacia dónde él quiere ir, que todo este tipo claramente de puntos que tenemos sobre la mesa se puedan pues también considerar, atender para que finalmente, digamos que la designación del nuevo BDM, pues tratemos de aprender de lo que sucedió y que tratemos de ser claramente pues exitosos, ¿no? Y pues también estar un poco ahí alineados, si no es que decirlo también un poco en acuerdo de que finalmente la manera en la que se pueda plantear este tema, pues sea óptimo pues, para todos los partners, ¿no? No sé qué opinen, yo creo que esa es como la intención. Byron ahorita comentaba un poco la visión de decir, oye, pues es que al final del camino, pues esta persona pues tiene que apoyar específicamente en la gestión de BDM, pero bueno, pues atendiendo a que de alguna manera sus clientes somos nosotros, ¿no? Si lo quieres ver así, que creo que eso me parece fundamental. Y bueno, también